Hi, my name's Eric, welcome back to my channel. Let's talk once again about Madonna. Earlier this week, I put up a poll asking you what type of video you'd like to see this week, and you said pretty overwhelmingly that you'd like to see another video of me reacting to and analyzing Madonna's music videos, so that's exactly what I'm going to be doing today. If you voted for one of the other options, don't worry, I've got plenty more videos on other artists coming up in the new year, because the next 2 weeks I'm going to be talking about my favorite songs and albums of 2020, so stay tuned for that. Based on your requests in the comments, the 3 music videos I'm going to check out today are Secret, What It Feels Like for a Girl, and Die Another Day. But before I dive in, let me know in the comments down below what Madonna music videos I should react to next. Check the description box for a link to a list of nonprofits you can donate to. Please subscribe to be here when I post new videos every week, and hit the bell icon to be notified when my videos go live. Without further ado, I'm going to move in chronological order, so the first music video I'm going to watch is Secret.
Things haven't been the same since you came into my life. Happiness lies in your own hand. Something's coming over.
Definitely a class contrast going on here.
My baby's got a secret. It took me by surprise that you understood. Till I learned to love myself, I was never ever loving anybody else. Till you shared your heart.
Looks like a shrine there.
Something's coming over. My baby's got a secret.
Okay, like a baptism sort of thing going on there.
Something's coming over me. My baby's got a secret. How it could be till you shared your secret with me. Something's coming over me. My baby's got a secret. My baby's got a secret with me.
Cool, okay. I love the black and white look. It was shot beautifully, of course. Something that struck me about this video is the way that Madonna, very much in the same vein as what she does on Madame X, locates herself in communities of which she is not part. She is, in reality, a wealthy white woman setting herself in this community that is predominantly black and that pretty obviously is not economically privileged. But it's clear that what she's doing here, beyond the obvious sort of empathizing with people, trying to put herself in their shoes like she talked about doing on Madame X, is that she is trying to portray these communities in a way that uplifts them and that points to them as a source of art and of sacredness, really. She did this in her Like a Prayer video, being surrounded by a black gospel choir. In this video, she is baptized, and intercut with these images of baptism, which is a very holy sort of thing, are images of drag queens, images of, just people on the street in this poorer community, smoking, doing their nails, things like that. And the impression that I got wasn't a contrast between the holy acts and the everyday sort of goings on of these people of color. Rather, I got the sense that those sort of mundane things, she is setting up as being on par with these holy actions. She is saying that, it is just as sacred for a drag queen to put on her wig as it is for a priest to perform a holy ritual. You can compare this also to the God Control video, which I reacted to last week, where she also situated herself in the context of the Pulse nightclub, which was a gay nightclub, and she is positioning herself similarly here as part of this community of people of color and of queer people. So, as with many of Madonna's videos, there's a conversation to be had about, what exactly she has ownership over and what she can claim, but she very obviously is meaning to uplift people in this video. With relation to the song itself, I sort of interpret it more generally as being about a lover holding the key to, exactly what love is, that being the secret. But some of you also pointed out in the comments that the song could be about her being exposed to Kabbalah, which is, again, another holy practice. It's one of the, number of different faiths and spiritual practices that she adopted, around the 90s and early aughts. Of course, her frame of reference for holiness is still very Catholic with the references to baptism in this video, but again, it is about finding the secret, the key to life and to happiness and fulfillment in unexpected places. One of them could be Kabbalah, another one could be a jazz club in an underprivileged neighborhood. So I guess the way that I would frame this video very generally is that on the one hand, we have Madonna inserting herself into a canon where she arguably does not belong, but she also is inserting people of color and, queer people into a narrative in which they might otherwise have been excluded. The video doesn't strike me at all as wallowing in poverty or anything like that. It's very much portraying the beauty in each of these different situations, even if they might not be conventionally seen as glamorous. But each scene has something relating to beauty, like hair or makeup, or to love, like a couple embracing each other, or a parent and child, or to holiness, again, with the baptism scene and, the crosses and all of that. So if there is a sort of narrative going on here, it isn't as overt as in some of the Fincher-directed videos that I watched last week, but it's still very beautiful. And as always, I would love to hear your interpretations of all of these videos in the comments. And with that, I'm going to move on to the second music video, What It Feels Like for a Girl.
It's okay to be a boy. But for a boy to look like a girl is degrading. Because you think that being a girl is degrading.
I love that monologue.
What it feels like for a girl.
Love the license plates. Okay, this sounds like a remix version of the song. Okay. I hope everyone's okay. Oh no. She's just like on a crime spree. Good for her. This remix is so gloriously Y2K. Oh, it's a water gun. Okay. Did she just waste her fries?
Girls can wear jeans, cut their hair short.
Oh no. Okay. I like how the explosion was implied. Oh, ooh. Very cool shot. Wow. What a ride. Still got that slow-mo of the, to quote Lord, broken glass sparkling. So definitely a very different video. A lot of fun though. We have Madonna as this sort of action star. It's pretty clear what she's doing here, I think. I mean, the whole song is about, telling men, if only you could step into our shoes and see how we feel. She's sort of doing the opposite and taking on the sort of typically masculine role, which she has done in many of her other music videos as well, including two that I talked about last week, and wreaking some havoc. Another thing to note, this is a music video of a remixed version of the song. This is not the album version, but I really like this version. It's very nostalgic. It sounds so Y2K. It's so much fun. It also suits the energy of the video for sure. It is obviously a bit cartoony. We have some cute little nods and in-jokes and things, like when Madonna, I think, enters the motel or something like that, and slams the door and the 669 turns into a 666. Of course, she has been so concerned with being holy. Even in the last video, she had this concern for Catholic rights, and here she is being this devilish woman, but that's the whole point. She is being devilish. She is going against the norm by acting like this, tough guy. Obviously, it is a little bit more complicated than that. Some of the things she does are definitely morally questionable, like tasing that guy at the ATM to steal his money and then, to give a generous tip to that waitress. Like, on the one hand, not super nice to tase a stranger, but on the other hand, it was nice of her to, use it for a tip. I wouldn't exactly call her a Robin Hood figure, but but specifically what she's doing is she is performing this sort of hyper masculinity, this aggression against predominantly, actually exclusively men who are also in hypermasculine situations. The first thing she does is crash her car into these guys who are trying to, sort of show off and maybe get into a street race, and she just plows into them. But then we also, of course, have the police. They are men in a position of authority, and then she, waves her gun at them, sprays them with water, sideswipes her car, and then she starts, messing up this hockey game, another very, stereotypically tough, manly, aggressive sport, though, of course, women's hockey gets just as intense, I would imagine. I don't really watch sports, but I can imagine. Let's talk about this elderly woman character. So, quite honestly, she doesn't do the most in the video. She is mostly just a passenger reacting to all of these wild things that Madonna is doing. But I think what she's supposed to represent is this woman who has lived a full life basically being cloistered and acting as she has been expected to. And so she is living through Madonna these fantasies of, acting like a transgressive woman. Like, here I am as an octogenarian sitting in this nursing facility when I could be going out and wrecking stuff too. I could have spent my whole life messing up dudes' lives. And in that way, she's an audience stand-in character, because I would imagine she's getting a similar pleasure out of watching Madonna wreck stuff as we are. And just like the videos that I watched last week for Express Yourself and Bad Girl, there's some ways in which Madonna is playing off of conventional expectations of how a woman should act. In fact, that's the whole idea of the song. But it's worth noting that this music video came out over 10 years after the Express Yourself music video, so I would imagine it would have been less transgressive for Madonna to be acting in a stereotypically masculine way, but it was still, I would imagine, cutting against expectations. This also relates, of course, to the Charlotte Gainsbourg monologue that we get at the beginning of the song, where she talks about, we can imagine a woman acting in a masculine way, but imagining a man acting in a feminine way is comparatively more taboo, which implies that we value femininity less than we value masculinity. So I think maybe an underlying implication here is we see Madonna basically messing up these people's lives by acting in a masculine way. I think part of what she's suggesting here is if we mandate masculinity as the standard of appropriate behavior, there are other aspects to masculinity, what today we would call toxic masculinity, that come along with that. If being a boss, if being aggressive, if being competitive is the norm, then this is the world that we live in. We live in an action movie where things are just exploding all around us. Which, of course, isn't to say that you can't be feminine and tough, but we're talking about normative expectations here. I do think, in general, the cathartic and pleasurable aspect wins out over the cautionary aspect. It is definitely so much fun to watch Madonna go and wreak some havoc. But it's also worth noting that the music video ends with her crashing the car. We do not see her make it out of this alive. So on the one hand, it could be sort of an, if I'm gonna go out swinging sort of thing. But on the other hand, it is still sort of telling us these behaviors are ultimately destructive, just like in the Bad Girl music video. And if I had to guess, I would imagine we're going to get some similar action movie vibes in the third and final music video I'm going to check out today, Die Another Day. Okay. Looks like she's being led to an interrogation room. I would imagine, in the position of a secret agent.
I'm gonna wake up, yes and no, I'm gonna kiss some part of kiss die another day, kiss die another day, kiss I'll die another day, kiss I'll die another day.
I'm enjoying the non-diegetic dancing. Analyze this. Okay, she's fighting herself. Cool. Ooh, okay. Okay, shattered identity. Ooh. Poor Pierce Brosnan. Ooh, okay. Oh, that looks expensive.
So much more to go.
The bowler hat. No. Got that little Goldfinger reference there. Good for her. Okay. Very cool. Yeah, it definitely felt like a great mediation of a Madonna music video and a Bond music video. So much fun. So we've got a really nice variety of images here. Some of them are more obviously about a struggle with identity, and it actually very cleverly ties in, I think, to the idea of sort of the James Bond's canon, because part of the thing about James Bond is he's basically living a double life. He is a secret agent. There's part of his life that he has to conceal, and there's a lot of stuff about betrayal and about sort of soul searching, and so it totally makes sense that the song would be about sort of an internal struggle or fighting the parts of yourself, because that is something that James Bond, the character, goes through, and that is sort of a universal experience. Of course, we have these two fencing partners who are really adversaries, and they are both Madonna. One is dressed in white, one is dressed in black. Eventually, Madonna in white defeats Madonna in black. This is very obviously meant to be the light side of Madonna and the dark side of Madonna, and the light side prevails. We have mirrors, which of course are the image of self-perception and of identity. And of course we have a shattered mirror, which is a shattered sense of self, a sense of self that is divided up, just like the light and dark, two severed halves of herself. Something significant is the Hebrew tattoo on her arm that later appears on the electric chair after she mysteriously makes her great escape. After Googling it, it would appear that these letters are a name of God. So what happened, of course, is that it was basically God's divine intervention that saved her, right? Maybe, or at least she was working in service of God. Either way, the fact that she prevailed was a godly thing. Also, when she bound her arm at the end with that sort of cord, it brought to mind the Orthodox Jewish tradition of wrapping tefillin, which is another holy rite, not exactly the same, but just in the same vein as her showing baptism in that first music video that we watched. But in either case, it's her doing a holy thing and then prevailing. The result of her performing that sort of holy ritual was her surviving. I don't know if that's exactly her frame of reference because she practiced Kabbalah and not, of course, Orthodox Judaism, but there seems to be a connection there. The broader sort of struggle that goes on in the video between Madonna as, I would imagine, this agent of freedom and these, pretty fashy looking bad guys is very much adopted from the Bond canon. But I think what's going on here is the sort of parallel between her fighting these outside forces of evil and her fighting these forces of evil within herself. They go in conjunction with each other. And you could interpret this a few different ways, I think. You could see it as a statement of, fighting the ills of the outside world also requires that you fight the ills within yourself. The fighting with herself also could be her metaphorically gathering the courage to make that escape at the end and to defeat the evil, sort of in the same vein as the dancing that she does, which of course is on this interrogation table in this, confined cell. Of course, the literal action is the interrogation and the torture. The metaphorical action is the dance. And of course, to Madonna, dance is freedom. Dance is, a resistance against oppression. So of course, in her mind, the way that manifests, the way that we see her gathering the courage to fight back is through dance. We even see her sort of toppling this heavy table. The song sort of has these vague lyrics about, fighting the system, and it's not very clear what system she is fighting. We know that she is fighting, I guess, self-hatred or something akin to it. She is fighting probably some sort of authoritarian, totalitarian sort of regime here, but again, it's all pretty vague. It sort of has the effect of a contextless resist banner or bumper sticker or something like that. It could be applied pretty broadly. You could be resisting your inner demons or resisting, like I said, oppression. Also, since this is from the American life era, I believe it makes sense that we have that scene where she is, taking these weapons, swinging them wildly, and destroying these beautiful displays. I mean, just like in that last music video where Madonna resisted gender norms by going and destroying things, here she is resisting what exactly, not entirely sure, by destroying this artifice, these pretty things. She doesn't need these material objects. The real fight is happening internally. This video doesn't really seem to import any of the particular villains from the Bond franchise. It's just the vibe of a Bond villain, so we don't really see her having political enemies in the same way that she did in the American Life video. So without that overt explicitness, we don't see exactly what she's trying to work against. It's really more of a motivational thing, the very broad message being fight back against whatever's getting you down, whether it's in the world around you or within yourself. Thank you so much for suggesting these videos. They were so fun. In terms of favorites, it's kind of hard to pick. I think the first video for Secret was really beautiful and touching. The middle video for What It Feels Like for a Girl was so much fun, as was the video for Die Another Day, but of course they had pretty different tones. I think the What It Feels Like for a Girl music video was definitely funnier, whereas Die Another Day was more action-oriented and a bit more gritty, but it also did have a bit of a sense of humor. But as always, I'd love to hear your thoughts and interpretations in the comments down below, and let me know what other music videos I should check out in the future and what other topics you'd like to see me cover on my channel. Check the description for that donation link. Please subscribe to be here when I post new videos every week. I'm going to talk about my favorite songs of 2020 next week, and I cannot wait to share them with you. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you are staying safe and healthy, and until next time, that's it. Just realized I've been blocking No Face. Just wanted to make sure you knew that No Face was there.